I'd like to ask you all a question, and I'd like a show of hands, please. How many of you are present right now? I see a couple reluctant hands. It's not a trick question. You know, even though a lot of you might think it is. I mean, how many of you are sat there thinking, of course I'm present. Why wouldn't I be? I'm sat in this chair staring straight back at you. But how many of you were thinking about what's for dinner today? How many of you were thinking about an assignment that's due at 12 o'clock that you might have not started yet? How many of you were truly living in this moment? So, according to a study on Wandering Minds, we spend 47% of our time daydreaming. Now, that's a lot of time. That's nearly 7 hours of our day. And you know what? Daydreaming might not be all that bad. We could go back to our past, revisit memories that bring up fond feelings. But then again, we could spiral into thoughts about that one awkward moment when you were 13. You get the idea. Okay, so let's visit our future. There's so many opportunities out there just waiting to be grasped. But then again, there's so many opportunities. This idea can be daunting for many. And whether intentionally or not, we spend so much time thinking about what was or what could be that we forget what is. So what is? Well, what is that this carpet's red, the weather outside is pretty bad right now, and this tag on the inside of my shirt is really, really itchy. A lot of you might just be again, confused. Why is she just blatantly stating the obvious? But part of living in the moment is about finding the joy in the mundane, seeing the beauty in the simplicity of everyday life. This carpet's actually my favorite shade of red. The weather outside might be pretty bad, but it's a little bit better than yesterday's. And this tag on the inside of my shirt, like many things in life, I'll soon grow used to and forget about. And I'm not just talking about tags here. We as humans, we forget about a lot of things. And something being privileges. How many of us in here have privileges? How many of us often forget and become expectant of these privileges? I'll be the first person to take accountability. Growing up, I was really close to my brothers, and especially my older brother. And it was only once he left for boarding school that I realized how grateful I was to have a role model growing up. And it's when we become, used to these things that we become expectant of it. And it was only in its absence that we see its true value. But when we live in the moment, we realize that every passing moment is valuable. Every second is valuable. There isn't a moment in time which isn't valuable. And our bodies are constantly in the present. They're eternally in the present. But our minds are wandering. They can go backwards for everywhere. But if you don't bring your mind back to your body, then your whole life could go by and you won't even be there to witness it. And as a mindset, living in the moment, it's pretty difficult. I'll be the first person to tell you that. It's difficult. It's so easy to slip into your emotions of the past or your ideas of the future. And this is exactly what led me into these cycles of doing without thinking, these cycles of, being so overexhausted. I started year 12, and for those of you who may not know, in the British secondary system, year 12 and year 13 are known to be pretty hard, to say the least, pretty grueling. And oh, did I hear about this. I went to my teachers. I'm so excited for this new subject. Oh, I'm so excited to have you on the course, Chahana, But you need to be ready to put in the work. This is nothing like your GCSEs. Oh, okay. So I went on to talk to my friends about it. They're often the first person I go to. Chahana, we're not going back to our GCSE ways. Lock in. Even the wording, lock in, like I'm shackled to my desk or something. And then I went to the final boss, the year 13 students. I went to them and I talked to them, how is it, you've experienced it. Just forget about anything like a work-life balance, Chahana. You're not gonna make it. These are going to be horrible, Chahana. Get used to it now. Okay, so I was getting the memo here, and this was quite paralyzing. I couldn't get rid of the fact that this was going to be really, really hard. And so I went on to study. But at the end of all my studying sessions, I ended up like this. Not too productive, eh? I was stuck in cycles. I would stay up after procrastinating for a whole day, late at night, to do prep, to do revision, do things, because I felt guilty for not doing work. And then I'd wake up with a bad back and a really foggy mind. So then I'd go to class. And then it caught back up to me. And my teachers' voices would just become like white noise. And I just stare blankly. And so I missed out on more work from my lessons. So I had to catch up on more at night. And you see where I'm going here. And these were vicious cycles. And if I had only taken a moment to just think and be in the present, it would have been quite clear to me. But I know a lot of students in here are stuck in these cycles, and it's not as easy as just thinking. So I had my wake-up call, and my wake-up call was my first formal exams. I got them back. Whew, they were not good. These were some of the worst results I had ever gotten in my life. And I mean the worst. And so I went on to having these progress conversations with my teachers. And my form tutor I had a conversation with. But what really stuck out to me was something that my father said. And it wasn't the ordinary lecture. It was a story. He told me about a story. My father's from the east of Nepal, and he grew up in a small village, and he didn't have much. And he was not too young, about 12 to 14. Sorry, Dad, if I'm getting that wrong. And he went to the market with my grandmother. And he really wanted something, really badly. But it wasn't the newest shirt. It wasn't the new flip phone, maybe. I don't know what was back then. It wasn't a cool pencil or cool sneakers. It was a geometry set. A rubber, a pencil, a protractor, and a ruler. And because my grandmother couldn't afford this, my dad got down in the middle of the market on the muddy floor and started rolling around crying. Not something like a 14-year-old would do, but it showed his desperation. And he told me that he would have done anything to have been in my position right now. And this was my second wake-up call. Whoa. And it's so easy to have fallen into feeling guilty for this. Initially I did feel guilt. But when you think about it, how much does guilt do? How much, does guilt do when I wasn't responsible for anything? So I changed my mindset on what can I do now? And what I could do, and that would have an impact, was be A, grateful for what I do have, and B, use my privileges to, help other people and, better myself. And so after this slight shift in mindset, it transformed my study sessions from whatever this is to this. And I chose this exact photo because this was when I was studying for my mocks. And the smell from dinner downstairs would creep up into my nose. And there's a little bird that lives on the top of my roof. I don't know if I need to get that fixed, but it's really, really cute. And it chirps around. Kind of annoying, but kind of cute. And the sunset would be there. And in these study sessions, I was the most aware of where I was, what I was doing, and why I was here. And it was in these sessions where I, A, had the most fun, and B, got the most work done, most efficiently. Now, a lot of you might be thinking, well, it's change in mindset, It can't just be from one story. What else did you do? And I would credit a lot of this journey to journaling. No pun intended. And journaling was a way of self-help, self-therapy. It's a way to spit out everything that you want to say but can't. And journaling can be used really wherever you want and however you want. You can use it to plan, you can use it to reflect. Now this next one, a lot of you aren't gonna like, and it's putting the phone down. You know, how many times have you been on your phone looking for something, gone into the room, and forgot why you're even there? You know, you get so entrapped in this virtual world. But when we reduce our screen time and put our phones down, you get to see what's really in front of you and take it all in for how it is. And lastly, this last step is probably the most important for me. It's something you can do anywhere, at any place, and at any time. And that's meditation. And so I'd like to share with you a meditation that I found very useful. So slowly, I want all of you to close your eyes. And shift your focus to your breath and use it as an anchor for your thoughts. Taking a deep breath in, holding it for a beat, and releasing. And whilst you continue these breathing steps, I want you to think about 3 objects around you, whether that be this remote, my microphone, or my glasses. Now I want you to name 2 things that you are grateful for right now, whether it be the person next to you, this event, the clothes on your back, anything. And now lastly, I want you to set yourself one intention for the rest of the day, one goal to complete. Whether it be doing the laundry that's been sitting in your room for about a week, or that piece of prep due at 12. And now whilst you continue breathing, I want to read to you a quote that really resonated with me. You shouldn't chase after your past or place expectations on your future. The past is gone, and the future is yet unreached. Whatever quality is present, you see right there, not taken in or unshaken. And that is how you develop the heart. And now once you feel ready, I want you to regain consciousness, come back to me in this moment. And thank you so much for listening to me.